Hey everybody, how you doing tonight? Beautiful night in San Diego. I got a bunch of people over here fighting behind me, but maybe you'll pick it up, maybe you won't, but who cares? Well, anyway, maybe, I wanted to say something real quickly, which was kind of interesting to me. Somebody said that if you never change anything, if you say the same things about people all the time, then you're not being honest. So if you're consistently saying something bad about somebody, that narrative always being bad isn't it shows your bias, because you never say anything good about somebody, and people always have something good about them. So should be. So if you're always saying negative things about somebody, then you're not being honest. So I am going to be nice tonight. I'm going to say something kind about Donald Trump. I don't like him. I don't care for anything he does, but I will say something nice about him. About 30 days ago, my father passed away, of which I never got along with my father, so my father's passing wasn't that emotional for me. But I have to say that Donald Trump seems to be very close to his children and seems to get along with his children very well. I admire that. Being from a father that I never got along with, I think that's wonderful that he has that relationship with his kids. So that part saying I don't always say negative things about Donald Trump. I've always said that he seems like he gets along with his kids. I don't know if it's contrived or not, but he does seem like he gets along with his kids, and I find that something that I admire about him. So there you go. I don't always say negative stuff about Trump. But I got to talk about another guy that's been in the news lately, and a guy by the name of Joel Osteen. If you don't know who he is, look him up on the internet. He's a pastor out of Houston, Texas, and he's been catching a lot of shit lately. And the reason he's been catching a lot of shit is because they claim he wouldn't open his church for the people that were hit by the hurricane. And I kind of read stuff about that. I don't know how much he really said or didn't say. He's denying it all right now. Usually where there's smoke, there's fire, so he probably did say something. But I want to talk about Osteen and the prosperity gospel. If you don't know what that is, you're missing a lot of what goes on in the churches today, especially the mega churches. Guys like Joel Osteen, another guy that's big with this prosperity gospel that I used to listen to, a guy out of San Antonio, I can't remember, John Hagee. Yeah, he shows up every now and then. He's getting a little bit old now. But the prosperity gospel goes a little something like this, that God really wants you to prosper. Jesus wants you to prosper. So if you ask Jesus for prosperity, he will give it to you, because that's what he really wants to do. So you need to get up every day and ask God to bless you. And most of the time when we're talking about God's blessing, we're talking about financial blessing. So you're supposed to pray, and God's supposed to bless you with financial rewards. And the more you believe it, the more likely. And the other thing too, is supposed to tithe. It's supposed to give to the churches. The more you give it to the churches, God respects that and then gives more back to you. The problem with the prosperity gospel, of which I used to kind of believe, and don't get me wrong, I'm not somebody that's an atheist, but I don't believe in the prosperity gospel, because the prosperity gospel can never be wrong. Listen to me, people. It'll never be wrong, because it goes something like this. Ask God to bless you. But if God doesn't bless you, then that's his will not to bless you. And whatever else that he does in your life, if he takes everything away from you, down to the shirt on your back, that's God's will. So even though God isn't giving you financial prosperity, he is blessing you because his will is being done. So they're never wrong. Never wrong. The only thing that's always right about the prosperity gospel is that the pastors are usually very wealthy and make a lot of money by people donating to this prosperity gospel idea, of which the more you give God, the more God will give back to you. So anyway, Joel Osteen's, I'm not going to go too overboard with the guy. I mean, he seems like a likable guy, but I wouldn't trust him very far. I wouldn't trust him very far at all. Anyway, he's got a lot of flack this week, probably for good reason. He's probably didn't want to open up his church, and he probably, didn't want to help people out until he got called out on it. And all of a sudden, now he wants to be the giver, the person that's going to let everybody in. And I think they went overboard after that. They did start opening up the church and put up cots, and who else knows what else. But I guarantee you one thing, no one was staying in Joel Osteen's $14 million mansion. I don't think he took them anybody. In fact, to this day, I'd like to see if Joel Osteen's got anybody in that mega house he's got, that big mansion that he's got there in Houston. I wonder if he's letting anybody sleep in the 10, 12 bedrooms that he's got that are uninhabited. You know, I wonder how much of the, you know, and I'm just guessing about the size of the palace. I don't know. I've read a little bit about it. But this mega super mansion that he has, I wonder how many people he's taken in. I wonder how many people are that he's, you know, and the guy's got lots of money because he wrote a couple books that were really, really popular. I wonder how much money he's giving back to people that are in desperate need right now. That's the true gospel, is giving from your poverty, not giving from your wealth. Joel Osteen's got a lot to give, just like Donald Trump. This idea that he's giving $1 million away to people in Houston, or these 10 or 12, or whoever it is a bunch of fucking crap. You know, and I'm going to call Trump out on that bullshit. You know, giving $1 million away. I mean, here's the guy that runs around and talks about his billions and how wonderful he is and splendid and how he can make so much money that nobody even can count it. You can't see his tax returns because they're just so grandiose. But you know what? The fucker only gives $1 million away. $1 million. You know, that fucking jet he flies around, you can burn up $1 million probably in a couple trips. So anyway, the guy's full of shit. People shouldn't buy these publicity stunts that they pull. So anyway, thanks. I appreciate you watching.